paralysis by analysis where you have too many options. So limiting options is key. You have to go and be an active participant in your life. Shed light. It's important to give back. It's important to help people learn that anything is possible. And when it's in your spirit, when it's in your heart, it carries over and it permeates into everything else you do.
And not only the experiences, but learning from those experiences. It makes so much sense as to how all of these different experiences shape who you are, working blue collar, being a part of the firefighting team, basketball.
That lead with service, you don't lead with status. Because you understand something, like when you understand that unseen controls the scene, you realize it's not about showing off. The most dangerous people are dead and quiet.
I do agree that leadership really stems within, with who you are as a person.
Successful people do what unsuccessful people don't want to do. Everybody's going to have bad days, right? Everybody's going to have challenging days. But I believe that's what really makes you stronger.
This could get like 2 viewers. Maybe those 2 viewers, they needed to hear something from you. Welcome back, Alfred State students. And this is Lesley, president of Echelon Executive Club. And today we are kicking back the new semester with the new ideas and also a new guest. So here we have Jared Childs.
Hello, thank you for having me. Jared Childs, Professor Childs, as some of you may know. Been on campus for about 5 years, teaching in the business department. EJB is my home, and glad to be here. Excited to be present with the amazing Lesley Chavez to talk about all things under the sun, business, spirituality, and wellness.
Yes, so this is very exciting. We finally have our club advisor, and I feel like a lot of people know who you are, but then they don't. So I'd love to introduce everyone to really like what makes you you, and you know, build more trust and hopefully have new club members join us. So tell us a little more about you.
Yeah, wonderful. Very humble beginnings. Born Bakersfield, California, which is also known as Central California. Some people make fun of it, call it the armpit of California. But
Really?
yeah, born and raised, because we're just right, you know, where California has that little cut, Central right there. It's really hot, huge agricultural scene, almonds, cows, and all those kinds of things, and really challenging space. But born and raised for my younger years, and had the opportunity to learn a lot, and had a wonderful upbringing there. Until I was like 8, moved out to Paso Robles, California, where my mother took my sister and I, and we continue to grow, continue to flourish, and a beautiful area next to like Cal Poly, San Luis Obispo, Cuesta College, about 45 minutes or so away from the coastline. So beautiful area. And middle school there, through high school, go Bearcats, and had a wonderful experience. And I know a lot of people don't like their high school experiences, and they usually don't enjoy that time, but I loved high school. I consider myself a nerd. I love school. I love education. I love professional development and just academic development. And while I was in high school, 3-sport athlete, and enjoyed my experience, right? So graduated high school, moved up to Roseburg, Oregon, of all places. Moved up with some family and friends, and had a new start. Right, it's amazing when you get to move to different areas and you get to kind of start brand new. Right, you kind of take on maybe a different personality, maybe wear a different style of clothes that you've been experimenting with, and kind of break out of that shell that you kind of were accustomed to. So moved up. Didn't necessarily know what I wanted to do. Wasn't recruited out of high school for any athletic sports or anything like that, even though I have a passion for basketball, for tennis, for football. Tried baseball a little bit, but not my favorite thing. I'm a little scared of those 99, 100-mile-an-hour fastballs. But without knowing, sometimes that's a beautiful thing. Right? So you have the opportunity to kind of think about your trajectory and where you want to officially go. Yes, I had all the dreams and aspirations of falling into marketing and into being an entrepreneur on the business side, having multi-million-dollar company, raising a family, and all the dreams that we all have growing up. And sometimes it just takes a little bit to actually put our foot down or put our finger on it to actually make that exploration. So went up to Roseburg, Oregon. Didn't know exactly what I wanted to do right away, but I always knew I had a passion for education, passion for school. Always kind of wanted to dabble in the advertising, marketing, the education level. Elementary actually education was always kind of on my mind as well. Getting after the young whippersnappers and being able to help mold their minds to be able to do bigger, better things, to actually to thrive and overcome some of the stereotypes of what you have to be because of you come from here or you're this gender. So trying to help people break out of those constraints. So in Roseburg, the quickest way, or wherever you go, the quickest way to some quick cash is usually like fast food. So I worked at Jack in the Box for a couple of days, and it just wasn't for me. I have friends and family that are in fast food, and they make a lot of good money, and they support their family. And especially back in California, you can make $25 an hour managing, 5-6 figures, owning a franchise. So it just wasn't my speed, obviously being on the ground floor, and I didn't have that gumption to kind of grind at that level and try to run my own store at that time. But enrolled at Umpqua Community College, where I met some really amazing people, started in the fire science paramedic program, loved it. I loved the firefighting aspect, the challenges of it. The medical side was amazing, but it was a slow grind for me because at the same time I tried out for the basketball team and made the basketball team. So now student athlete wasn't a new thing, but at the college level, as a lot of you guys know, it becomes a challenge, right? With the available time that you have to study shrinks, the available time you have for your mental relaxation and mental capabilities kind of shrinks. So that grind, it wasn't unfamiliar, but it was new and definitely another layer, right? So continued through the fire science paramedic program. We had great basketball success. I would actually come from the fire station, go to the game, take a nap on the couch real quick, get into the game, work my magic, do what I needed to do, and then go back to the fire station and potentially, most likely, and a lot of times, go on a medical call because somebody needed our assistance. So long hours, long days, but I personally felt like I was built for it, right? Come from my humble beginnings, see my mother grind and seeing what she's done for our family. So I don't have any excuses to make when it's time to put in that work. So great opportunity. After a while though, the paramedic side got to me. I'm way too sensitive. So I would see my family members, I would see my friends and family, and I would see my grandma when I'm doing CPR on somebody and their family members, talking over or screaming or crying over our shoulders. Is she going to be okay? Is he going to be okay? Pulling people out of windshields because their car rolled over. Kids in a situation where we're seeing, this and that, and you've seen the TV shows, and I had the opportunity to live that situation, and it wasn't until a year and a half into the program where it was negative stress for me, and I just didn't want to continue that path because I knew it wasn't healthy for me overall. So luckily at this time, when I was making this new decision on which direction should I go, the coach from Southern Oregon University, Coach McDermott, wonderful spirit and soul, wonderful man, came knocking on our door and said, "Hey, do you want to come and play basketball for us?" And yeah, yes, please. Opportunity to continue my education and kind of carve out a whole new path. So got the opportunity to go down to Southern Oregon University, which is in Oregon, obviously in Oregon, but Echelon, Oregon, big Shakespearean network, a lot of acting and a lot of culture there, which was really amazing. Went down there for 2 years for my bachelor's. Knocked my bachelor's out the park. Yes, there were some hiccups because, coming from community college to a big Division II NAIA school, there's obviously challenges there. But loved every minute of it, appreciated the challenges, and enjoyed those experiences. So got my bachelor's, got a minor in economics, kind of focusing on marketing, but still didn't know exactly where I wanted to go, right? The world's your oyster, right? You could go anywhere, as a lot of you graduates understand. Like, sometimes you get paralysis by analysis, where you have too many options, right? And it comes back to marketing. Don't give your customer too many options. They're going to bog down. They're not going to know which one to choose. So limiting options is key. So for me, I said I wanted to continue my education. Right? How am I going to make myself more marketable? How am I going to be able to put myself in a position to keep excelling and to understand that Southern Oregon University, in my cohort, we're not the only ones graduating, right? U of O was graduating, Oregon State University is graduating, Washington State, you name it, everybody's graduating at the same time. How am I going to stand out different than other people, right? So I had to think about it and bite the bullet in the sense of investing in my career, and that's continue my education, get my MBA, right? So continue my MBA, Southern Oregon University. I loved it there. The staff was amazing. The faculty was amazing. The administration was amazing. And I just felt at home there. And some people think it's not a good thing to continue your MBA at the college you got your bachelor's at. It is what it is, but it's what you feel in your heart. Right? If I joined a different program, would have I succeeded? Would I have been able to accomplish what I accomplished? Maybe, maybe not. But when you have a structure around you that's loving and caring, and that's a support unit, it just makes things so much easier, as everybody knows, right? So continue my MBA, knocked it out the park. I loved it. I enjoyed it. I knew what I was there for, right? While I was getting my MBA, obviously side hustles, volunteering as much as I can, trying to build my resume, trying to build my network, trying to dabble in internships and building that network. So even after I got my MBA, options almost kind of blossomed open even more, which was kind of interesting to me. I knew that those options were going to be available, but now it's, again, paralysis by analysis. Now what do I do? So many options, so many things I could go, so many career paths, so many entry level jobs that I could get involved in. And for me, I don't like financial burdens. I don't like money on the books and extreme debt, which we all graduate with if we're not lucky for scholarships or any other financial freedom from family members. So right after school, I knew the world was my oyster. I'm not afraid to go clear across the world, the globe, go across state lines or whatever it may be. So I had a friend that was working in the pipe yard in North Dakota. And what they would do is they would insource and outsource pipes that they would drill into the ground for natural gas and oil. So we were in charge of those logistics. I'm very entry level, where I'm climbing on semis. We're taking measurements, making sure we're delivering the right things. Up there, we're stacking pipes like Lincoln logs. I feel like just as big as the SLC, but that's just in my mind. We're standing on top, and it was an amazing experience. Real blue collar work, which I've always been used to, but it was ultimately just to be able to get Sally Mae off my back, in a sense, and get that big heavy bag of student loans and debt off my back. So I rocked it out there for 8-9 months or so before the temperature started changing on us and starting to get really cold. And we all know North Dakota can get really cold. So at that point, I wanted all my fingers and all my toes, because I still have a passion for athletics, and I still want to be able to swing a tennis racket, go shoot some hoops. So I put my card in and say thank you so much, return my hard hat, my overall, said thank you so much for the opportunity, and went back to Oregon. At that point, still trying to figure out, I'm applying to places, here, there, entry-level positions in tech and marketing and business across the world, across the state, and just waiting to see where the shoe would drop. In that meantime, I get a phone call from my buddy, and he says, "Hey," which was in a fire science paramedic program with me. He said, "Hey, I'm getting married. Come out here." I'm not that kind of guy to fly clear across the country, because he actually moved to Olean, New York, where I live now. And I said, "Hey, I love you, bro. FaceTime me, put me in the seat, and I'll be there in spirit." And he called me 2 days later, said, "Are you coming to my wedding?" I said, "Nah, I told you, I'm out here I'm figuring out what my next move is." He said, "But you're in my wedding." And so at that point, you kind of got me. So I said, "All right, I'll be out there next flight," which was, the wedding wasn't for another month, but I wanted to get out there and experience New York. I've never experienced out here, and wanted the opportunity to see what it was and be able to travel while I had time. So came out here, wedding wasn't for a month. I'm helping with the wedding, blowing up balloons, doing the, the epoxy stuff, making like the balloon with the stuff, the twine wrapped around it, doing all that extra stuff, paying my dues, paying my rent while I was out here. So lovely time, lovely experience. I love him to death. He still actually lives out here. He's a CO at Bradford Prison right now. Doing medical stuff out there as well. So long history with him. We still link up and tell stories all the time. Try to link up at least a couple times a week. But came out here for about a month. I'm not the kind of person that just likes to hang out and chill and just kick it. So I one evening we went down to an amazing location, 4 Mile Brewing, and it was like their grand opening. So I'm the kind of person that's always, my ears are open, my eyes are open. I don't really say much, but I'm kind of like the wallflower or the fly on the wall, just observing. And so I noticed that they need help, right? On all levels, right? Grand opening, new opening, there's a lot of things that need to be done at a high level. So knowing what I know, coming from where I come from, not afraid to get my hands dirty, I say, "Hey, I'm going to be out here for a month. If you guys need anybody, I'm available," right? So they recruited me. They say, "Yeah, come on, we need anybody, everybody." So I wasn't flashing my MBA. I wasn't flashing my experience. I was just there just to collect some dough, gain some experience, and, take a look around. So being out there, I instantly started, showing my true colors and not being afraid to change a grease trap, go take the garbage out, sweep and mop. I started serving. They started to say, "Yo, who is this guy?" And I'm not the kind of person that's going to wear my stuff on the CV. "Yeah, I do this, I do that. I have these accolades, I have this." I'm just here to do my job, right? So work. By the time it was my time to leave, they said, "Hey, if you want a job, you can come back." I'm like, "Yeah, I feel like this is an avenue into New York, which is a hot spot for entrepreneurship, activity, networking, and all the above." So I said, "I got you. I'll be back." Right? Took my flight back, loaded up my truck, and I drove clear across country with my truck full to the brim, all the way to Olean, New York, and that was the next chapter of my book. Right? So I lived with the vice president at the time, and he gives me one of his like little studio rooms. So I'm just living there, and obviously no mattress, no bed. I just, a pallet, how we do when we're kids. I've slept on many a pallet. Still to this day, I'll make a mean pallet, right? So just hustling and grinding, still applying, getting to the library, looking at jobs, this and that. And this at this point, I still had a flip phone. Right? I'm so flipping. So I didn't have that level of access that we do now. So I'm at the library before work, after work, trying to figure things out and trying to set my next move. So continue at the brewery. I'm still, my eyes open, my ears open. They still don't know my official, what my background is, but I start saying, "Hey, y'all need help with social media. Y'all need help with your website. You need help with events and marketing. You need help with distribution and design of material." And like, yeah. And I'm just producing, creating, and doing what I need to do. And they're surprised, but at the same time, I'm just there to keep perfecting my skills and having a real industry experience to be able to sharpen my skills, sharpen my swords. So I've been there for, what's this coming on, 11 years?
Wow.
11 years and still there. And still at this point of me being there, I still help. Actually tonight, we're in the transition of bringing on new servers. I'll be serving tables tonight just because I'm not that it's my baby or anything, because I don't have any investment in it, but just because that's how much passion I have for the organization since I was there from ground zero. So I'm still pulling shifts as a server. We just got done with the wedding over the weekend. I'm out here serving champagne, doing whatever they need, taking garbage out, and helping out, people that gave me opportunity and giving them my time, right? And so working there 14, what was I say, 14, 10, I don't even know how many years, they just blend in at this point. So got comfortable. Right, got comfortable in what I was doing there. Have a great team around us. Again, we got to make little. We're making social media posts. We're making little series of how beer is made, and with the hops, water, grain, yeast, the whole operation. I got to make little micro TV segments and stuff, which are really awesome that we threw on our YouTube channel, and loved it, enjoyed it, got comfortable. Where again, I need a lot to do. Once my head gets comfortable with something, I have too much free time. I need to do something else. So at that point, about 4 years in, Olean High School basketball was looking for an assistant coach. So I said, hey, I love basketball. Basketball has been a passion. I was already playing basketball in my free time. So I applied for the position, went down, talked to Coach K, wonderful, wonderful man, wonderful spirit. And he gave me a shot, gave me an opportunity. I've been there for about 5 years. I'm assistant coach and loving every minute of it. And it's a beautiful thing because I get to see the young adults getting ready to transition into the high or college and be able to see that transition and be able to help mold those transitions and kind of give, lay out the route, lay out the opportunities, and lay out the what to watch for, what to take advantage of, and give them almost like the cheat code to success. Some listen, some don't, right? We all know that. I always believe that people aren't ready to hear information until they're ready, right? You could have the best advice in the world, but if they're not ready to hear it, one ear and not the other. And I could be the first to say, hey, I'm the same way, right? So trying to give those gold nuggets wherever I can. So basketball, another passion. We've had great success, sectional championships, league champions, and all that kind of stuff. And, good days, bad days, wins and losses. But ultimately, at the end of the day, it's about raising and elevating young men so they could be the next generation of great men, great sons, great fathers, great whatever, great people in society. So I love it. I think about it all the time. During basketball season, I get locked into basketball sometimes, and my students see me sliding across the floor or closing out and, building those relationships on that athletic experience, but a really, really lovely opportunity. So 4 Mile Brewing, hustling and grinding, perfecting my craft. Basketball, loving it, having the change of mentality and being able to bring in different life skills. So got comfortable with it as well, right? Alfred State was hiring, right? Again, my MBA opens up doors and opportunities. Had the opportunity to apply, had some wonderful people around me advising, saying, hey, Alfred State's hiring. I think you'd be a great fit. What's the worst that can happen? Yeah, you're right, right? What's wrong with knocking on the door? And what's the worst that can happen? Say, no, thank you. What do? You try again. Maybe not at Alfred, maybe at AU, maybe at Pitt Brad, maybe at St. Bonaventure, whatever it may be. But getting in the door, getting used to those situations is very helpful for the future. Getting comfortable, right? Getting comfortable with being uncomfortable, right? Stepping outside of those comfort zones. So put my hat in, and it wasn't for a full-time position or anything like that, just for adjunct. Hey, here's a couple class here, fill in when we need you. Had the amazing opportunity to be brought onto the team. I think it was right place, right time. And again, like I stated, been here for 5 years, I believe it is, and I've been grinding and hustling and taking on every opportunity that I could. Hey, we need somebody to do this class. Hey, I'll do it. Hey, we need somebody to do that. Yeah, I got you. I'll do it. Right on top of everything else I'm doing, trying to time management, mental management, health and wellness management at the same time. So, been here since then and loving every minute of it. I actually just got full time last spring. Pulled me on full time tenure track. So really grateful for that opportunity. It seems like I'm doing something right, right? Building positive relationships, being a part of amazing clubs, meeting amazing people, and continue my network, continue my professional development, continue sharpening my sword. So while I was adjuncting about 3 years ago, actually, or 2 years ago, I got comfy, right? I got comfy again, right? I'm all my birds are in the line, all my ducks are in the line, and everything's where it needs to be. I love puzzles, by the way, so I put together puzzles. So I like putting puzzles together in my life, and real puzzles too. So being able to orchestrate situations around me is what I enjoy doing. So again, had some great advice from a fellow faculty member, a fellow colleague. He said, hey, Pitt Braz needs somebody to adjunct for a marketing position. Put my hat in the ring. Lo and behold, hey, Mr. Childs, would you like to come on our team? Blah, 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 blah. Based off of my resume, based off of the things that I was doing, based off of my references, based off of the relationships I was building. So I've been there for I believe it's 2 years, adjuncting there. I adjunct there. I come out here, do some classes, depending on my schedule. But I still do all of those things still to this day, and still looking for more, right? Join a Big Brother, Big Sister program in Olean. I try to meet every Sunday with my little young whippersnapper, Jake, wonderful kid, and always looking to grow, always looking for experiences, and looking to continue to develop, right? I think that's the biggest thing, constantly developing, constantly, my plate's not full enough. And I know when it will be. Right. And I think that's the biggest thing, is knowing when your plate's going to be too full and when to step back and when to say no. Mm-hmm. And I feel like I still have so much to give, so much energy, and I might have dark circles around my eyes, but that's just the lighting. That's just the lighting. But I thrive in life. I thrive in energy, and life is so short. Life, it can be snatched from you in an instant. And it's not necessarily about a legacy that I want to leave or make somebody proud besides my mama. But it's more about just having an enjoyment for life and being appreciative and having some gratitude, because I think a lot of us walk through life as zombies and just expect things to happen, but you have to go and be an active participant in your life, right? I don't want to be a bystander. I want to have my hand, my foot, my body in as many things as possible, because it's important to be involved. It's important to shed light. It's important to give back. It's important to help people learn that anything is possible. And no matter what your background is, right? A lot of people say you have to be a product of your environment, and that's not true. Right? We got to be able to turn that on its head, because you can experience where you've come from, but take the good things and even understand the bad things to be able to say, yep, I don't want to go that way. Yep, I know I'm going to learn from that person's experience.
Mm-hmm. No, I like what you're saying. No, like, you're right. It's also about like being intentional. Just because you come from a certain environment, you can also create your environment by what you allow to come into your mind, what you see, what you watch, what you listen to. All those things affect like your perception of reality and what you believe to be true. The information.
Yeah, this is a hidden gem right here. Yeah, this is a hidden gem. Keep cooking.
I like what you're saying about servant leadership. Well, he didn't mention servant leadership, but that's what you embody right there. Your whole mindset is around servant leadership, which is so important for any entrepeur. You have to be willing to do what you're saying, from taking out the garbage to managing the $1 million budgets or whatnot. You have to be willing to do all that.
100%.
So, they can expound. What's your definition of servant leadership? I guess is the question I want to ask. I said I would introduce.
No, you good. No, you good. service and leadership, I think service is being that example, being what you want the world to be and what you envision, right? Because I'm trying to serve society as a whole, right? I want to be an example. I want to be an example for underrepresented individuals. I want to be an example for anybody and everybody that wakes up and says, I can't do it again. I can't go through this, right? I want to be the service of the people, right? And naturally that's going to carry over to business, right? Naturally that's going to carry over to education. That's going to carry over to my teachings in my classroom, right? And I know sometimes I get all preachy in the classroom, and sometimes the eyes glaze over, the kids roll their eyes and all that, but it just naturally comes out of me, right? So being a service of the people and being a service of my environment and trying to set that example, right? So that's where I see that level of service is to the people that I interact with, the people that I see, and the people that I don't see, right? The level of leadership is, it kind of coincides with it in the sense of integrity. I always tell my students integrity, right? Doing the right thing even when no one's watching, right? So leading by example, leading by the way you hold yourself, the way that you dress, the way that you approach, the way that you treat people, right? So again, when it's in your spirit, when it's in your heart, it carries over and it permeates into everything else you do. So when you lead by example, because my mom put that in me, right? Seeing what she went through and seeing that through her dark days, her challenges, her demons in her closet, and she's still able to get up, go to work, and give us the things that we want and we need, and that we, we need these new Nikes for the basketball team because of the self-esteem and the peer pressure. And she's wearing the same brassiere that she's been wearing for a year, and she doesn't have enough money to put in a car, so she has to ride the bus, but she wants to put clothes on her back and put food on the table. Seeing those things set in. And sometimes when you're little, you don't recognize those things. It's until you get a little older, you get a little more wisdom, you look back and you're like, dang, I don't know why I was giving him or her or they such a hard time, but you didn't recognize it. So you get a little grain of salt, but being able to lead by example and learning from the leaders in your family in whatever shape or form they come in, it's natural. It's natural for me because I know somebody's always watching, and I know that I need to step properly to set that example because the little ones are always watching, especially being at the high school. I've substituted at the elementary and the middle school level, and the eyes, they're so big, the ears, they listen, and they'll tell you something that you didn't even hear yourself say. So they're listening and hanging on every single word, every single action. I walk out the classroom, I look through the window, they trying to walk like me, right? Oh, they want to grow their hair like me. So being able to lead by example and always, that's always on my radar, saying the right things properly, setting that example for all ages and groups, even the old heads out there. I might be old head at this point, but even the older old heads out there, trying to set the example for them too, right? Trying to break some of those stigmas and those, wow, I didn't know he could be like that, right? Don't let the dress fool you, right? And that comes, and I love breaking those misconceptions. Like, yeah, don't get caught off guard because I could talk and I could be articulate, right? Oh, I didn't know a person of color could be like this. Well, interesting. You must live under a rock because there's a lot of amazing people out here doing big and amazing things and traversing the skin color. So leadership and taking that as a true responsibility of who we are is a real thing. And sometimes you learn later when you gain responsibility, right? I've learned that until you have a level of responsibility, sometimes, you feel invincible. Sometimes it don't matter right now, but it's until you have that mortgage, you got that car payment, you got to put food on the table, you got to keep that house lit. Until then it's the light bulbs go off. But like I said, I try to give the cheat code as soon as possible. So you don't have to go through all those hoops and hurdles and find yourself in a depressive state. Mhm.
What a person with so much depth. And it's just like, it's so inspiring, it's so refreshing because you don't see that a lot. You don't see a lot of people with the intellectual capacity, with the experiences, and not only the experiences, but learning from those experiences. You touched on so many key points, whether it's self development, child development, um, working in a team, leading others, being the example. And it's just like, it makes so much sense as to how all of these different experiences shaped who you are, whether it was working blue collar, being a part of the firefighting team.
Mhm.
I don't really know what's that called. What is that called?
Uh, Firefighters or
Okay, just
yeah,
firefighters.
yeah,
All
yeah.
right. Being a part of that. Also like branching out and going into your passion with basketball, whether it's being a professor, and that's really inspiring. And you're right, everything is being seen. Whether you think you're not being seen, people see, and they ignore it or they don't, but people will always remember what you did or what you left or what you said. So that's why it really is important to always want to lead an example and want to be the best that you can be,
Mhm.
you know? Um wow, you spoke a lot. So many ideas, so many ideas.
Yeah.
Um
Oh, you have some. Well, I had something. Or if you, I don't know if it's swaying from your
well, go ahead,
points.
go ahead.
No, yeah. So I quote like I remember too, like when you were talking about like doing what you need to do even when no one's looking is like people don't understand how much the unseen controls the scene, and that's in every
Mhm.
aspect of like any end of it. You look at the things that you don't see, is controlling like the reality that we live right now.
Mhm.
Like the actions that people put in the work behind the scenes. Like you don't see people see the house, they don't see like what's underneath
Yeah.
that's
Mhm.
holding up the house.
Mhm.
But that's what's keeping it sturdy and keeping it, there.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of things like that in reality. So I had wrote down something that he said, but he didn't really say it, but he said it. It just reminded me of that. Like you lead with service,
Mhm.
you don't lead with status. Because
Mm.
you understand something like when you understand the unseen controls the scene,
Mm.
you realize it's not about showing off. The most
Mhm.
dangerous people are like the deadly quiet, bro, and they control. They, man, I mean, whatever they've grown to that capacity to where like they manage so much finances that
Yeah.
and they can shift reality in a certain way. I remember talking to somebody that's in politics. They went to Harvard, and they were saying that it's about 15 people that control the world. I was like, they just said it like that so naturally because they went to school with them. She was
Yeah.
like, I was like, what? What do
Yeah.
you mean by that? But
Yeah.
what do you think about like the unseen controlling the scene and people not caring? I mean, it's hard when you're younger. You care so much about what people think, but the things that you learn and those concepts and those principles that you learn behind the scenes of whatever faith background, as I think Leslie's going into the spiritual aspect
Uh-huh.
Mhm.
and stuff like that.
Mhm.
Those things that behind the scenes when you're praying, I used to underplay that. I mean, I used to do when I was younger. I learned to pray for my mom and stuff.
Mhm.
And I know when I'm older, I'm seeing the value of that, and it's scary without it. Like
Yeah.
you,
Yeah.
like it gives you a comfort and it helps you reflect and stuff. And those things unseen gives you clarity in life instead of
Mhm.
just like going out there trying to rack. Because if you just go there trying to be reactive, you
Mhm.
end up being controlled by the narratives. Cause
Mhm.
you're not like really focused. Like you have no time to really settle in yourself. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
But yeah,
To add on
Yeah.
to that, before you get in there,
Mhm.
um I do agree that leadership really starts from within, with who you are as a person. I think the best professors I've had, they they don't talk about the material, but much more as their experiences in life, and they're like real life teachers of life. And that's when you learn the most. And I noticed that most students pay attention to these professors the most, and they see them as higher up there just because of that. I would say I was in one of your classes,
Mhm.
and that was like one of the best classes too. I mean, we were learning about advertising, but not even the material was great. but just speaking life into students and telling them like, hey, we need to work on this. It's not just about the material. It's about what you're learning, how you're learning, how you're utilizing that. How are you making more of what you have now and going so forth? Being an example. Those things are so important. Those things, like, you don't just learn, you learn from experiencing, you learn from getting out there and putting yourself in positions that you don't feel comfortable doing, or that makes you feel uneasy, or is something you're not used to, that certain demographic. Like, all of these things really branch into one, and that goes into your integrity, into your morals and your values, what you believe in, what you think is right, what you think is wrong. So yeah, I would say, like, one of your classes, one of the best, definitely.
Appreciate that. Appreciate that. Definitely, definitely. What was the question?
It's not really a question. Whatever was Leslie's point, but I was just saying, like, people don't value how much the unseen controls. Sometimes they feel like they're not, like their work is not going unnoticed. But the things that they do, their talents that they're honing in private, that they might like feel like it's nothing. Like those things are just so important. Like, I think
100%.
reality.
100%. I mean, the best analogy that I could think is like, you practice how you play, right? And so like for basketball, when we're practicing, if you're practicing game speed, if you're practicing like it's the real deal, it's gonna carry over, right? If you're not going hard, if you're not touching the line, you're trying to cut corners, right? And you're not paying attention, that's what's gonna carry over, right? So having, like you said at the beginning, having that intention, right? Having authentic, true intention on your craft and what you're trying to achieve. And it gets hard sometimes, right? Successful people do what unsuccessful people don't want to do, right? So it's hard being great. It's hard staying on that grind. It's hard getting up in the morning, going to the gym, then going to class, doing your homework. And it's hard to walk across that graduation stage, but it can be done if you have that intention, right? So it's when you say it's like the house with the foundation, you have to have a solid foundation of who you are, or else you're going to get rocked, right? Because there's going to be those moments where you do get rocked, where you do get challenged and your faith gets challenged. You're like, man, do I have it? Can I keep going? If you have a solid foundation, and that could be your social circle, that could be your mentality, that can be like, man, this your morals and your ethics, that guiding compass, your vision statement, your mission statement. You could go back to that. Yo, I got it, right? Everybody's gonna have bad days, right? Everybody's gonna have challenging days, but I believe that's what really makes you stronger, right? And you hear it a lot, right? Those hard times, that's what actually really shapes you. And if you could actually go through that trial by fire and come out the other side, right? You're like, yo, what? Getting goosebumps. You feel, you're like, yo, I can do it. And it's those moments that I love seeing in students' eyes, and how they overcome their challenges, from high school to college level, even elementary and middle school, when they get a word right. And they all proud, and mama, I learned how to say that today, and some basic words. And it's just, those moments are so impactful, and they carry with you. So those aha moments are so significant in our development, and I try to have as many of those as possible. I'm always trying to put myself in vulnerable situations. I'm always trying to step outside the comfort zone, because I want to know what I'm about, right? I have so much more to learn. I have so much to offer, and I need to constantly be out of my comfort zone to keep expanding and keep developing, right? But we're all icebergs, right? We're all icebergs, right? It's that water level. We only see that little tip of most people walking around campus that's experiencing, that are successful. People think it's just automatic. But what about all that underneath, right? What about that unseen stuff that we're talking about, that is actually the bigger part of who we are, right? People just sometimes see the shininess, see this, that, but it's all that hard work, all that dedication, all those sleepless hours, all that commuting, all that hustle and grind, all those tears, right? The tears and struggles, and the struggle and that pain and suffering. But the only way out, in my opinion, is through, right? You have to go through that to become that next level person.
Hmm. I agree.
Hmm.
I
Exactly
agree.
what you talking about. Yeah, I don't know, not to I don't to go like too far. 'Cause I know it, Leslie's show, but yeah, I relate with that. Like you have to go through it, and you like sometimes we have a culture of like avoidance
Mm.
of like the feeling of it, and
Hmm.
stuff like that, And people use so many different vices to just distract themselves. But if they just like take away the vices
Hmm.
and just go head on, it just makes you, you know, and yeah, so
Yeah.
for sure.
But I do
Hmm.
want to say this is not just my show. I know that you told me that you don't know what you want to do, where you want to go with your career right now. But I'm glad that you're asking questions because I know, like, just hearing something like this, literally, this could get like two viewers. Maybe those two viewers, they needed to hear something from me. Maybe God directed them to have that conversation, to hear whatever somebody wants to hear what I say. Because,
Hmm.
I mean, people like just walk past me and the same thing you said, like they see something shiny, they see something polished, but they don't know what that person went through
Hmm.
to get there.
Hmm.
Like even with my club, like I mean, we had a lot of members last semester. Now, like we're down all the way from the beginning, and even I had like challenges like do I want to keep going? Do I not? But I mean, this is something that I genuinely enjoy. Like I enjoy wanting to help other people. I enjoy wanting to put people on. Like I don't ever want to gatekeep. I don't that's not my character. As much as that's seen to be socially right and that's how you get your way to the top, I'm not going to do that because that is not me. That's not me. And if anybody ever asks for help, I will be there and give them that help, like whatever resources, anything. And that's why, like, I made this club as well, too. And why I chose Jared to be my advisor because I just, like, I have a thing where I can, like, see where I can see like so much potential, and I just knew that you would be a great fit. So yeah. But as I was saying, like no, like I've been through a lot with the club, and I put like so much effort. I try so hard. Like this is so new to me. Um, Definitely just going through different obstacles, but here we are, and we're still going, and we're still running, and we have so many more things to impact. To I don't think I said that right, so we're gonna have to cut that out. And we have so many more things to share. I definitely have a lot of events that I want to work on. I still want to do the winter charity gala. Um, and I'm just learning, taking in all this new knowledge stuff about like refinancing student loans. So I definitely want to make a workshop about that. I just finished an internship this summer, so I definitely want to share my experience to others. Definitely working in the law in the workforce. Um, Young, something completely different. Stepping into corporate, learning if you do want to do a 9 to 5, if you want to be an entrepreneur or not. Definitely credit cards. I definitely want to touch base into that. Investing and all of these things that, I mean, you generally don't really learn, and things that you need. Um, it's really like the information is out there, but you just have to find it and learn how to get it. And if you ever see something there, definitely go out to that resource. Don't let opportunities pass you by. Like just because you're in college and you're going to class, I mean, the work isn't done just in class. It's really what you do out of class. It's really what you do after your 9 to 5. What are you doing from 5 to 8? That's where the real success comes in. Yeah, so let's touch base on I mean I had this whole list of questions,
Quick hitters.
but
Got some quick rapid fire.
actually no. I really want to talk about like early childhood development. I
Okay.
know that that is something that you've been interested
Yeah.
in and that you shared a book that you were
Mhm.
reading, and that's something that I'm also very interested in too.
Mhm.
So I'd like to know anything new that you've learned? Any insights?
Oh,
Just being a professor.
I'm always seeking knowledge first, but uh, I've been always intrigued by early childhood development. And the book that you're talking about, We All Got Scars, is a wonderful book. The name, the author's name's leaving me at the moment, but ultimately, it talks about as kindergartners how we change first grade, second, third, and what roles we take on when it comes to peer pressure, when it comes to group, when it comes to the pictures on the walls that teachers are putting up and saying, "Hey, this is what girls do. This is what boys do," and putting people in boxes, and what that does to the dialogue, right? And what that does to the mentality and growth, right? So obviously in our age of society, we're breaking down barriers, right? Anybody could be anybody. And that's why I said firefighter. I didn't say fireman, because firefighter, that's anybody and everybody, right? So uh, I'm very intrigued with, like I said earlier, I've always been fascinated with, like, even I wanted to, kind of dip into the elementary school, doing teaching down at that level, because these young minds, parents are busy, right? Parents don't have all the time. They don't have all the resources. Sometimes they're tired when they get home from a long day, and they don't have the energy to be able to go and throw the baseball around a little bit, right? And to be able to give some of these life lessons, like, no, here's an iPad, go play, right?
Yes.
And I think these are very impressionable times, and we're not talking about COVID at the moment, but like these challenges that parents face, and when I say it takes a village, it really takes a village to raise our society up, right? When it comes to social media, right? When it comes to advertisement, when it comes to the people in our neighborhood and the resources and the parks and the wiggle room that we give our children the ability to exist in, and let them know that it's okay to do that, even though that's, oh, don't worry about what grandpa said, what you're allowed and not allowed to do, in the sense of who you are and your perceived gender role, right? And so I've been really fascinated with breaking down and breaking away from the stereotypical you're a woman, you have to be at home kind of thing, right? You're a man, you need to go do the heavy labor, and you're not allowed to be smart, because girls are the ones that are supposed to be smart. And let's flip these concepts, and let's meld them together, where everybody can be anything they want, right? You could be anything that you want. That's the beautiful thing about our existence at this moment in time. Yes, there's going to be challenges. Yes, there's going to be people that say, no, you can't. But again, who you surround yourself with, right? What communities are you putting yourself in? And are you going to stand up and have a strong voice and stand up for what you're passionate about, right? Finding those advocates, and like you're saying, if there's something that needs to be said, if there's a club that needs to be for something, start it, right? If you want to empower yourself, empower others, educate people, if you want to break down barriers and raise people to new heights, do it, right? The resources, Alfred State College is an amazing place for it, and people have the opportunity to thrive and strive. And like I said before, though, you have to be an active participant, right? But I believe, though, it starts in the classroom with the young whippersnappers, the parenting, the education on those levels. And I've had a thought, it might be my PhD work, but what I want to try to do is get parents back in school, right? And where there's a collaboration where the parents and their child, they have to take courses together to learn some of these concepts early, to be able to help educate, right? When the child's on the iPad, when the parents are on their phones, those are great opportunities to be learning together about elementary education, development, the do's and the don'ts, the watch out situations, and grooming and guiding our young generations to be the next leaders, the next advocates, the next service members of their community and our world, right? They're the next keepers of our world. And we need to start early, because those mindsets are started early. My mindset was started early, right? So I'm an advocate for it. Let's start young people early, so when they get to high school, they're ready for adversity. They're not afraid of it, right? Yeah. Come on, let's go. I'm not afraid. Let's get it. Hey, I want a challenge. Instead of saying, here, give me the participation badge or the trophy. Oh, everything's going to be handed to you, because that's not real life, right?
Yep.
Your experiences, my experiences, things aren't handed out to you. You have to go get them. And if we're not being taught to be resilient, to have that grit, to have that mentality, to kick doors open, to knock on windows, to say, hey, let me in. Hey, if I'm coming in, I'm coming in whether you like it or not, because the future is now, right? So building that mentality, building that mindset now is critical for our future.
It's interesting that you say that, because I mean, I have an 11-year-old brother, and I try to be the best I can in that development process. You know, I have matured since like a long time ago, so I already had kind of all of the juices going with that. And I mean, there's one thing like giving your children everything, and there's another thing giving them the ability to problem solve, to build that resilience. And I will say that there is a difference in men and women when they're growing up, and how you approach them with different things. Like, I would say you would want to set a very well structure for the daughter, so they would know about healthy relationships, about setting boundaries, about just like getting an education, things like that. And then I would say for men, for boys, that they need to be given the space and not be handed everything to them, not so as much taking away things, you know, and going to an extreme, but kind of letting them flourish so that they can learn how to problem solve from young. You know, like, oh, I don't know, like I lost something, oh, I can't find it. Oh, let me go and jump and find it for you. No, let them figure it out. Give them at least 10 extra minutes. Don't let them struggle, but let them expand their mind, you know? So that's one thing that I really try to push in there, because I mean, we're seeing different things with the generation, like Generation Alpha, Generation Z, like it's just all these different changes. And I mean, that's our future right there, who our children are. And giving them an iPad and just letting them be, just because you're overworked or you're tired or you just don't have the capacity to be a full-on parent, which sometimes, I mean, it happens, you know, people are too busy, they can't do it. But then it's also like you need to put in that extra step. So I think that's really important as well too. But something that I wanted to add on to that is, damn, I lost it. I have too many ideas going.
Yeah,
all right,
you got to make a part.
So we're gonna have to leave this for part 2, and you're gonna have to just tune in. So we'll see you guys in the next episode with Echelon Executive Club. Have a great day.